Welcome back to Kiesel News, everybody. To start today off, we have news that the Star Wars main issue comic series, like the main Star Wars one, is going to be moving on from comics set between episode 5 and 6, and is instead going to move to stories between episodes 6 and 7. This is absolutely wonderful, in my opinion, as it shows that we're truly now done with the original trilogy time period. Like, even Disney is admitting, like, you know what, we've told essentially every fucking story that we can tell in this time period, even with comics, so now we're going to move on, and now these comics can even interact with the Mandoverse, or give us the 5 years before Mandalorian begins, which is more likely what it's going to do, as I doubt that they would make comics required reading for all the shows, because there's already enough shows going on. Showing the destroyed Darth Vader mask, though, does make me think that maybe these stories that are between 6 and 7 are actually going to be bridging the gap between the Mandoverse and Episode 7, because maybe the Mandoverse is only going to go up to a specific time period. Like, maybe by the time Mandalorian and everything is over, we'll only be at, like, 20 ADY or something, and then we'll still have 10 more years to cover. I mean, I can see the Mandoverse just going straight up to Episode 7, and I think that's what they're going to do, but we have to think about all the possibilities here. Next up, we have a bit of follow-up on the Russo brothers potentially directing Avengers 5 and 6, and Kevin Feige basically says that it was somebody else a few weeks before that, and he can't wait to see who else is going to be next week, basically implying that the Russo brothers are not set in stone by any means, and they're basically considering every option. Now, this was obvious, like, but I feel that it was still great that it was addressed, because I saw a lot of people kind of, like, taking this really seriously, like, oh, this means that we're going to get the Russo brothers as the directors, like, 100%, and I know that I talked about it, but even I acknowledged that it wasn't a for sure thing, so it's glad that this was addressed. He also mentioned other potential directors that he had in mind, such as Greg Berlanti, who has done Dawson's Creek, Everwood, Riverdale, and he's been involved in You as well. So that's a very interesting resume for a Marvel movie, especially something like Secret Wars, like You and Secret Wars. Interestingly, though, he's also worked on Arrowverse and Titans, which are DC projects, right? So I thought Marvel had a bit of a strict policy on if you work on DC, then you can't really work on Marvel. Obviously, they've made exceptions, but you think that one of these exceptions wouldn't be for their potential biggest movie of all time. Another option that Kevin Feige talked about was actually the Alien Earth director, Noah Hawley, and the interesting thing was that Kevin Feige has denied these two people. Like, he said, like, oh yeah, it could be someone else next week, whatever, but, like, he straight up denied Greg Berlanti and Noah Hawley. I guess I kind of see why with Greg Berlanti, as we kind of gave reasons as to why Marvel wouldn't want to hire him, but I don't know why he'd be so against Noah Hawley. Next up, Deadpool and Wolverine is apparently an 8 in terms of how impactful it's going to be to the future of the Marvel Universe. This is great news, in my opinion, but I'm just confused, as we were previously told that Deadpool and Wolverine was more so a movie focused on character, and it wasn't going to really tie into the overall MCU that much, and that was obviously confusing. And that was obviously confusing as fuck, because this is Deadpool 3. We're dealing with the TVA here. It obviously was going to be important. We're dealing with the multiverse, because we have to find a way to get Deadpool from his universe to the MCU, and we're dealing with Wolverine coming into the universe. Like, there's so much multiversal shit here that there's no way that it wasn't going to be important in some way to the future of the MCU. So I just don't understand why it suddenly changed, or why they're suddenly changing their statement now, at least. Speaking of Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds said that he let go of getting paid on the first Deadpool movie so that he could give his salary to screenwriters on set. And I just wanted to bring that up, especially with all of the events with the writer's strike and all that. And, yeah, if this was possible for him to do, it makes me wish that it was possible for other people to do during the writer's strike, maybe. Like, what if, like, obviously the actors eventually went on strike, but it made me realize, like, maybe some of the more fortunate actors could have tried to do something like this. Not that I think you should have to give up your pay to someone else just so that they can get their dues. That's not at all what I'm saying, but it makes sense for someone as rich as Ryan Reynolds to be able to support the screenwriters who are making presumably a lot less than he is. But another question I have is, why weren't the screenwriters allowed on set for this movie? Like, was Fox really that poor at the time that they couldn't afford to pay the writers on set? Like, I know that they eventually sold their company to Disney, like, Disney bought it, but come on, like, having the writers on set should be absolutely fucking mandatory, because there's so many last-minute changes that are made in a movie or TV show's production. Like, the original script, even the final draft, is never the final fucking draft. Jamie Lee Curtis is not going to be playing whoever the fuck Dr. Kureha is in One Piece Season 2. Now, I haven't fucking watched One Piece, okay, so I don't know if this is really a good thing or a bad thing, but all I fucking know is that Jamie Lee Curtis looks fucking identical to this character. So the fact that they're not going to be playing this character, it pisses me the fuck off. A Nova series is officially in the works. That is fucking awesome, man. Now, I've never read the Nova comics in the past, but I know that Nova is very, very fucking highly requested from the Marvel fandom. Like, what's the most popular character, really, that you hear that everyone wants to see? It's Nova. Like, it's a series that's been rumored for so long, so it's nice to see that it's finally been officially confirmed. And the fact that it's only 3 to 4 years from release is actually pretty fucking crazy. Like, that's, like, just before Secret Wars, or just after. And I don't know. It seems like Nova is still so far away. Like, it would be something that would come right after Secret Wars, as, we're not really focusing on a lot of the cosmic Marvel stuff right now. Like, really, there's just the Marvels, with, like, Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, and then we have the Guardians of the Galaxy, but other than that, is there really any other space people in the MCU right now? I don't think so. We're mostly focusing on all the other genres. So, I guess that could be a reason why they want Nova in here, but I don't know. I feel like we should still be waiting, like, 6 or so years. Leslie Headland thinks that they top Duel of the Fates in The Acolyte. And I think I disagree because that's not to say the lightsaber fights in The Acolyte were bad. They were fucking one of the best parts, just with how they were choreographed and everything. They looked absolutely beautiful. But you can't beat Duel of the Fates when it comes to how iconic it is and the emotions that you feel, especially after learning more about Qui-Gon after The Phantom Menace, right? Like, I'm sure if we get more content surrounding Soul or Kamir, for example, it'll make the fights more iconic in hindsight. But like right now, a lot of the emotional impact was missing in a lot of the Acolyte fights. Like, yeah, they look cool as fuck. I'm not complaining about that. But you can't beat the emotions that Duel of the Fates invoked. Apparently, not all the characters that were introduced in Phase 4 are going to be appearing in Avengers 5 and 6. Now, as Kevin Feige states here, that it's obvious that they weren't going to be able to fit every single character in the movie. Outside of cameo roles, it'd definitely be possible to get a cameo, I think. Unless payment-wise, I guess that could get in the way. But, yeah, Infinity War and Endgame were already crowded as fuck, and we had way less characters than we do now. It is just kind of disappointing, though, that a lot of these characters won't get to have their chance to shine with a whole bunch of others, as the main appeal of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is having the stories interconnect. And I know, it's great to have independent stories as well, but I feel like each character should at least meet each other once, in some way, shape, or form. But, I definitely do worry for how crowded these upcoming Avengers movies are going to be, because even if it doesn't have all the characters from Phase 4 in it, you still have to deal with all the multiversal shenanigans. Like, there could be fucking 50 Iron Mans that we have to deal with in this movie. Like, it's going to result in a lot of characters feeling underdeveloped. Godzilla's gonna be fighting the Titanic, Sherlock Holmes, and fucking Dracula, along with a whole bunch of other characters that I don't know. But this is just fucking insane. Like, we were talking about Marvel not doing a crossover with all of its characters. This will fucking be a bigger crossover at this rate. Holy shit. Fucking imagine Godzilla being the cause of the Titanic. I wonder how much drugs the writers were on when they thought of this. It seems like it'd be I might actually try and pick this up. And we're ending today off with the biggest news of today by far. How the fuck could I not talk about this? Joe Biden has officially stepped down as the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. I did not fucking expect this. I assumed Joe Biden would ride it out to the bitter end, no matter how much hatred he got, or how much memes were made about him. But nope, he has stepped down. I wonder what the final straw was for him. Like, was it the fucking Putin mistake, you think? Or calling Trump his vice president? But let's go over a bit of what he said in his goodbye letter. There's really not much. He's basically just like, oh yeah, look what we did, guys. I'm so proud of the American people. And he said that he'll speak to the nation later this week in more detail. Yeah, that's basically all that fucking 4-paragraph thing says. He does also say that he's endorsing Kamala Harris as the potential next president to take over. And I don't know why everyone is surprised by this. I mean, I assumed that that's how it kind of worked anyways, was your vice president was kind of next in line. I'm personally not the biggest Kamala Harris fan, so I'd rather we just get a new candidate, but to be fair, I think she'd probably be better than Biden just because she's not fucking senile. But I also just want to talk about how fucking crazy this is that it happens right before the election. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it must have just been all these recent memes that had made Joe Biden drop out, because he was still debating, 2 weeks ago was that debate now? And I talked about how the rumor that he was going to drop out, and I was like, there's no fucking way. Because why would he go through debating? And he even posted a thing kind of making fun of Trump a little bit as of yesterday. Now, it obviously probably wasn't him himself tweeting. Whoever his manager was probably did that. But that's crazy. Perhaps the absolute craziest thing out of this whole situation, though, is that Joe Biden announced his resignation from the election on July 21st, 2024, National Ice Cream Day. Maybe the only reason he resigned was because he would get access to more chocolate chip. Like, maybe Trump held him at gunpoint and he was like, yo, Sleepy Joe, if you resign, I'll give you all the chocolate chip you want. Regardless, though, absolutely crazy day. Fucking nuts. I'll definitely be interested to see if Kamala Harris does become the new candidate or if they find someone else, because they're going to have to do it quick.